Before I start the video, I have some bad news. Jif Palm has passed away recently. He was a really cute internet dog and a really adorable Pomeranian. I I think I know how he could have passed away because of age, sadly, since dogs don't live as long as humans. And well, I hope to see him across that bridge again when the time comes. With that out of the way, let's start the video. Since Ed, Edd n Eddy, since the show Ed, Edd n Eddy, came out back in 1999, and the show had its 25th anniversary earlier this year, I thought I would finally do a creepypasta reading. Today's creepypasta video reading is called Ed, and Eddy, the episode 34. Now, this story became really popular. Well, it's become a really popular story, and I really like this story, and like it was just so fascinating to me. Ed, Edd n Eddy, but anyways, let's get started. As you may know, the popular show Ed, and Eddy has been running for a long time. However, between October 7th, 2003 and October 21st, 2003, episode 34 was accidentally released 1 week before it was scheduled to. It was also known to some around the office the primary writer had been sick with the flu, and instead of going on to make episode 34, the show was supposed to replay episode 1. At 5 a.m. Eastern, people reported a very disturbing new episode premiering on Cartoon Network. Some children were unfortunate enough to see it. Apparently, the quality of the episode was mediocre when held to the regular standards, animation was choppy, sound was constricted and very muffled. Reports of a line running up and down, similar to a crappy VHS tape, were received. Scenery was described as overwhelmingly dark and depressing without changing props or other background objects. Stormy looking. Characters also behaved oddly. Instead of the normal goofy hijinks-inspired personalities, viewers complained that they seemed extremely agitated, gratuitously hateful towards each other, and constantly about to begin sobbing after the lines. The protagonist also had a very bad lisp. No one knows why, but he spoke with a sexual tone, and that further bothered the viewers. I was one of these viewers. The episode began with Eddy walking down the street with Ed. I noted that Double D was missing. There was an angular shot coming from in front of the two to show them walking toward the viewer. He, Eddy, was wearing the angry look he does when something goes wrong. His eyes were red around the iris. Ed looked absolutely forlorn and practically dragged behind Eddy, tears in his eyes, which were both lazy and looking in opposite outward directions. Kevin, the series antagonist, was riding his bike opposite of the Eds towards them. The shot became blurry and low moans were heard coming from Eddy before Kevin hit him, which never happened because the screen went to black. The screen then snapped back and Kevin was again headed towards Eddy. The view was so blurry this time, all I could see was a green blob headed towards the yellow one. The viewer was so wait, hold on. Again, the low moan. Only this time it sounded like the microphone was broken, and the microphone was broken, and loud static came, greatly overshadowing the moan. A claymation sequence of Double D sleeping in Eddy's bed came up. Honestly, it may have just been the abruptness, but I jumped and shivered. Waking up and getting out of bed, he moved oddly around the circular room, the faster pitter-pattern of footsteps being the only audio. The step sounds were very clear as I was shown a bird's eye view of him scampering around the room. There were no visible doors. Ed began screeching, sounding like a Fisher cat, as he moved wildly around the cell of a room faster and faster until the screen began blurring again, the purple room's color swallowing a now orange blur. An extreme close-up of Eddie's front door sat in absolute silence for a maddening long time, at least 2 minutes of dead silence and a door. Next, we see Jimmy and Sarah at a doctor of some sort, probably oral. Jimmy, obstructed in view by a hanging lamp, is crying loudly with Sarah, trying to comfort him in unusually warm fashion. "It hurts, Sarah! It hurts!" Suddenly, the door of the room is smashed open by a new character, a dentist. His face wasn't shown because he was tall enough to be out of the shot. Sarah was escorted out of the room. Jimmy was shown. His headgear was mangled, the front bent upward, stretching his lip very high, tearing proportions. The front of his gums were trickling blood and teeth were missing. The disturbing part was he lost both arms and legs beforehand, apparently, and sat a paraplegic. I almost cried as I came to the conclusion that the others had beaten him up and bent his headgear. The camera stayed on his mangled face, for a few seconds. Still as a picture, silent as ever. Commercials came on. We are instantly assaulted with a very hairy Rolf in his darkened shed fisting the cow repeatedly. The visual warps and gets blurry again as the scene pans out. Naz is reading a magazine on her couch. The quality is now perfect. Eddy is now alone without Ed. The quality dislines worse than before, and he is still walking, the sun now lightening the mood somewhat as he smiles and begins running. The door is shown again, and we see through Eddie's eyes the house as he reaches out to open it. His house is nice and bright, but a very badly played violin is blaring. The only audio in this scene as he makes his way through the house. Eddy opens the door to his room. Johnny is shown under Naz's couch cushion as he crawls out on all fours in a comedic way and pops up behind her, still oblivious. I laughed because someone forgot to draw his eyes, and I thought of a mole. Suddenly I stopped laughing as he started swallowing her head, still in a cartoonish fashion, of course. But this was different. He and she stayed like this until she started kicking and struggling. Johnny held her like this until she went limp. A zoom in on his face revealed extremely small human eyes. Double D was lying on Eddy's floor, no longer in claymation. The camera showed Eddy's house for the remainder of the episode, about 3 minutes, and the next program began on the spot. Whew, that was long. And it definitely took a lot to change the music because the music I had set playing for this video was going to take a lot of like really quick movements with my fingers to like move to like one tab to another. So, oh, sorry, my ear was just clogged. Well, I'd like to say that there's a few things I have to say about this story. It's definitely one really questionable story. One thing I find questionable is like, how on earth could anyone see this? I mean, it's not like one of those lost episodes like Squidward's Suicide where the videos were never released to the public. Well, I'm copying another video actually, but quote unquotes. But anyway, so I gotta say that my final thoughts on this story, I give it a 7 out of 10. Well, because I find the build up in the story it like doesn't really give like how the episode was found online. Was it like one thing I find questionable? How did the person even find the story? I mean, they probably just saw it on some online website or something. I mean, I get that normally most lost episodes weren't really released. Most lost episodes from those stories weren't really released to the public. But hey, my final thoughts on the story, it's okay. Well, tell me what you guys would do to change the story. All right, I'll see you. Don't forget to click subscribe and hit the bell so that way you get notified every time I upload a new video. And to finish this video off, goodbye.